All right, we back finally. Sorry I've been gone for a couple of weeks or so long, but it's just the fact that bottom line, Brother Saul been going through some stuff in his body, and I kind of in and out the hospital right now. So I just ask that y'all pray for me, and yeah, just pray for me that the Father hold me up. Um, but before we get, let's go ahead and get started, though. I don't want to get into that because it's in the Father's hands anyway. But just know that I'm going to start loading these classes up here. I'm going to get all these classes up here that I possibly can. Um, but giving all esteem to the Father, thanking Him for another day, thanking Him for food, raiment, shelter, thanking Him for us being in our right mind. We just ask, Father, that you forgive us for all our sins, keep us on the straight path, Father. Show us the right way. And give us a spirit, Father, that we'll want to obey you. And if we go through something, Father, please, Father, let us pick ourselves back up, dust ourselves off, and keep moving. This thing is coming to an end, and we see it clearly for those that can see. So we thank you for Yahushua HaMashiach. We thank you for the Ruach HaKodesh for giving us this understanding that we about to get. So we thank you, Father. And again, Father, please forgive us. We're nothing but men and women, but we want to do your will. So help us, Father. In Yahushua's name, we pray. Hallelujah. All right. Let's go ahead and get to where we were left off the last time. All right. I know it's been a while, but it is what it is. All right. This is where we left off last time. In Galatians 3 and 10, it says, "For as many as are of the works of the law are under the curse, for it is written, Cursed is everyone that continueth not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them." Now, you'll see a lot of time the dispensationalists try to use this. And we're going to show you why they try to use this, but we're going to show you what these penalties and exactly what this is talking about. Because for people that don't study the Old Testament or the first covenant, or the beginning of the covenant, because really they keep saying new covenant, it's just renewed. They can't. Well, we're gonna get to that too. When it comes to covenants, a covenant is forever. It cannot be disannulled. It can't be unless it's something else, and we're going to show you that too. So let's go to Genesis 2 and 17. We're going to be doing some reading today because I've been missing y'all. Let me get back up here. So Genesis 2 and 17 says, "But of the tree." Now let's look at this. We're going to start at verse 16. "And Yahweh Elohim commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die." Right? All right. So we see this. The word surely here, right? Well, let's go over to 3 and 19. Let's look at that real quick. Genesis 3 and 19. And let me see. We're gonna start at verse 17. "And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree which I commanded thee." See, this is what we got to understand. What he said, what I commanded thee, saying, "Thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake, and sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life." Right? Now let's go over to Psalms. Let me see, just to cross-reference something. Psalms 104. No, I ain't got it up here, but I do this sometimes. Let's see. Okay. We're gonna start at verse we're gonna start at verse 5. Right? Oh no, let's go start at verse 1. We got time. I ain't cutting none of this out no more. "Blessed be Yahuwah, O my soul. O Yahuwah, my Elohim, thou art very great, Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who covereth thyself with light as with a garment, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his messengers spirits, his ministers a flaming fire. You know, we showed you this in a different lesson. Who laid the foundations of the earth that it should not be removed forever. Thou coverest it with the deep as with a garment. The water stood above the mountains. At thy rebuke, they fled. At the voice of thy thunder, thou hast hasted away. They go up by the mountains, they go down by the valleys unto the place which thou hast founded for them. Okay? Thou hast set a bound that they may not pass over, that they turn not again to cover the earth. So let's see, everything follows commandments except us, right? He sendeth the springs into the valleys which run among the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field. Now you see that he sends these springs, right? They give drink to every beast of the field. The wild asses quench their thirst. By them shall the fowls of the heavens have their habitation, which sing among the branches. You hear that every morning, don't you? Okay. He waters the hills from his chambers. The earth is satisfied with the fruit of thy works. He causes the grass to grow for the cattle and the herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. So it's just like everything comes from him. So even when he gives a commandment, man, everything he gives commandments to, everything follows his commandments. We got to understand that. So when we look at this word surely, because he said, surely you're going to die, right? It comes from the Hebrew word 4191, which means muth. It's a penalty of execution. And this is what we have to understand. I just got done putting some videos up there this morning. I was watching this thing on Netflix. It's pretty good, but the main thing you're going to see that they keep missing, right, is the fact that these penalties that's happening. So you know, and that's the thing. If anybody watches them series, you got to be able to understand or listen when somebody tells you that it's been going on for a long time. Only thing, the problem is we never hear them talking about the Most High, right? We never hear them talking about the Father at all, capital M, right? Never hear them talking about him. They coming up with these solutions. We got to aggravate him. That's not going to change a thing. What's going to change something is you trying to find out who the Father is and keeping his commandments. So we see that when he said surely that this was a penalty, right? Now let's go to Deuteronomy now. 27. I'm going to show you how this, because again, when we go back to Exodus chapter 20, we see that basically what there was just judgments and statutes given. That's it. Judgments and statutes. All these other things, these penalties and stuff came later on. And we're going to show you when they came because of disobedience or the golden calf breach, right? Okay, let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 27. And Moshe with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day. Here we go again. And it shall be on the day when you shall pass over Jordan to the land which Yahuwah thy Elohim giveth thee, that thou shalt set thee up great stones and plaster them with plaster. And thou shalt write upon them all the words of this law, when thou art passed over, that thou mayest go in unto the land which Yahuwah thy Elohim giveth thee, a land that floweth with milk and honey, as Yahuwah Elohim of thy fathers has promised thee. Therefore it shall be, when you be gone over Jordan, that you shall set up these stones which I command you this day in Mount Ebal, and thou shalt plaster them with plaster. And there shalt thou build an altar unto Yahuwah thy Elohim, an altar of stones. Thou shalt not lift up any iron tool upon them. Thou shalt build the altar of Yahuwah thy Elohim of whole stones, right? Okay, where you think Paul gets this from when he starts talking about you lively stones? Well, I'm telling you. And thou shalt offer burnt offerings thereon unto Yahuwah thy Elohim. And thou shalt offer peace offerings, and thou shalt eat there and rejoice before Yahuwah thy Elohim, right? You see, he ain't saying nothing about no sin offerings, right? He said peace offerings. Thou shalt write upon the stones all the words of this law very plainly. And Moshe and the priests, the Levites, spake unto all Israel, saying, take heed and hearken, O Israel. This day thou art become the people of Yahuwah thy Elohim. So that's another way of saying man and wife, right? Because everything had to be reinstated again, even after they did what they did with the golden calf, right? We can read that to you. Thou shalt therefore obey the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim and do his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. So you got to understand also that these are the children that made it into this land of milk and honey. Remember, all the ones that did the breach that was 20 years old and up, he waited until they dropped dead in the wilderness. So this is a brand new thing. And when you read Deuteronomy, the only thing, what it is Moshe explaining to the children, right? Because you had some of them, the younger ones that came over that maybe didn't remember all the things. They wasn't exactly 19 years old when this happened. You see what I'm saying? So he started breaking down, telling them everything that happened in Exodus. So now here he is renewing this thing. Renewing, not new, it's renewed. Just like when the Mashiach came, it's a renewed covenant, not new. So this is what he's doing with these children, right? And Moshe charged the people the same day, saying, these shall stand up Mount Gerizim to bless the people when you are come over Jordan, Simeon and Levi and Judah and Issachar and Joseph and Benjamin. And something else I want to point out too. I made a mistake on when I was talking about Levi. And I said Levi and Judah was the one that avenged their sister Dinah. It was actually Levi and Simeon. So just to throw that out there. Verse 13, and these shall stand upon Mount Ebal to curse Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali. And the Levites shall speak and say unto all the men of Israel with a loud voice. Here we go. Cursed be the man that maketh any graven or molten image, an abomination unto Yahuwah, the work of the hands of the craftsman, and put it in a secret place. And all the people shall answer and say, hallelujah. I don't like that word, amen. Some people say amen, but do what you got to do, right? Now, cursed be he that setteth light, right? Or we can look at the word 7034, right? And it just means dishonor his father or mother, or contempt. It's the Hebrew word kalah. All right, be he that dishonors his father or his mother, and all the people shall say, hallelujah. Cursed be he that removeth his neighbor's landmark, and all the people shall say, hallelujah. Cursed be he that maketh the blind to wander out of the way, and all the people shall say, hallelujah. And we see a lot of that going on right now. I'm talking about spiritually, right? Cursed be he that perverted the judgment of the stranger, father, and widow. Okay, because see, they out here too. The stranger, that's when people say, that's for the Jews. No, it's for you too, because they were strangers out there from the beginning. So we gonna. I gotta turn it up now. Y'all really don't even understand what's going on. I really don't even understand what's going on, but I gotta have faith, right? But I will tell you this: I'm finna crank it up. Cursed be he that lieth with father's wife, because he uncovered his father's skirt, and all the people shall say hallelujah. Now we can go through all these, right? Cursed be he that smiteth his neighbor secretly, right? Or subjugate, attack with his mouth, right? From the Hebrew word 5221 naha, and all the people shall say hallelujah. Now when you go through this and look at this, I mean, some of these you're going to see is going to be what was given from the very beginning that they couldn't keep. Verse 26, let's jump down to 26. Cursed be he that conformeth not all the words of this law to do them, and the people shall say hallelujah. So we just got done reading where Paul got this from. Cursed is everyone that continue not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them. It's the same thing, y'all. This is why we having these problems. This is why they making these video on Netflix with you going through all these changes, because you are under this curse because you will not obey. The Mashiach came to take you from up under this penalty, and we're going to get to that. But this is what I'm trying to show you. So don't let these people or these tricksters or these devils put this in front of your face. And you now we're gonna like we always do. We're gonna show you how to back this stuff up. We're gonna show you how to fight for your belief because you have to be able to defend this thing at all times, right? I mean, we have to be able to guard this. Let's go to Psalms. Now we already know when we go to Deuteronomy 28. He plainly lays it out and tells you, if you do this, this is what I'm going to do. If you don't do that, this is what's happening because of I know the blood that you got in your veins, little children. So I'm going to put this before you until the Mashiach comes. Now, when he comes, because this is kind of like a schoolmaster. You know, some people say it's a sacrificial law, but in my mind, it's these curses because this is what's going to keep you in line. This is what's going to have you bamboozled and confused. Because no matter how much you march, how much you sit in, who you talk to, how much you keep your head down and try to talk and be nice at work because you want that job so you can buy this other foolishness that you don't need, right? Because I mean, all you really need is clothes and raiment, right? And a place to stay. Now tell me which out of those that he promised you that you were supposed to have. Start thinking about some things, right? Now, so this is what's going on. This is where Paul is getting this from. That's why they keep y'all out of this first part of this book. Like my father said, y'all run around here with half a book, right? I mean, he's telling you, I gotta show you this right here. Deuteronomy 28, verse 12, right? Actually, he's saying the same thing from the beginning. Let's jump up here to verse 7. And Yahuwah shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. Do you see this happening right now? Why? Yahuwah shall command the blessing upon thee in the storehouses and in all that thou settest thy hand to do. He shall bless thee in the land which Yahuwah thy Elohim shall give thee. Where your land at? Somebody else got that. And you talking about them as the holy people. You don't even realize you the holy people, right? Then you up here, you down here downtown on welfare, getting food stamps and all this stuff. And I'm gonna tell you something. I mean, I understand. I mean, I can't, I'm not talking bad about people that's on food stamps. What I'm saying is, if you was obedient, you wouldn't have to ask these people for nothing. Not a thing. Yahuwah shall establish thee a holy people unto himself. He's still trying to do this, like we just got done looking at in Exodus. He's still saying the same thing. This is what he's trying to do, y'all. As he has sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of Yahuwah thy Elohim and walk in his ways. Now, if you've been going through these classes, you understand what this is. And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahuwah, and they shall be afraid of you. Who afraid of you now? When you go over here, they don't want you over there. When you try to come over, they were like, what are you doing in here? You know what I'm saying? We don't want you in our neighborhoods. You know, and then some of that's kind of slowed down a little bit because now you marry, we mixing, and we're not supposed to be doing all that mixing. The book tells us this. Mixing comes from Hasatan. I'm sorry, but it does. This is why he was the tree of good and knowledge and evil in the garden. We're gonna show you that. Because anytime you mix anything, it's wicked in Yahuwah's sight. Right? Now watch this. And Yahuwah shall make thee plenteous in goods, and the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of the ground, and the land which Yahuwah sware unto thy fathers to give thee. And he shall open up, and Yahuwah shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain and to the land in this season. I mean, all these things, you're gonna lend and not borrow, and all these things. You can't even do this. Because you got to go get a loan from somebody. You can't just go to the car lot and put down exactly what it is that the car costs. So what do? You go ahead and finance the car at 38 million% because you just want that kind of car that everybody got right now. It's just incredible, right? But this is it. And we just got done reading Psalms 104 when he told you that that he to give the rain into thy land in his season, verse 12. But it shall come to pass, verse 15, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. They gonna run you down. This is why they keep following you, no matter how much money you make and your little degree, and you move way out somewhere, they still on you. Because even though you got a good job and this, but somebody in your family is on drugs. Your daughter out here running around like she done lost her mind with all these different men. Just goes on and on. There is no escape from these things. So this is what Paul is talking about. Not trying to make it like Creflo Dollar and these other devils try to make you believe. Psalms 19. Tell you something, boy. This thing here done gave me a whole nother outlook on life. I'm trying to clean up everything to make sure there's nothing. I'm hoping that I got enough work. So I gotta get to work strong. Because I know works don't save me, right? But I know what they do. Now, Psalm 119-21. Thou hast rebuked the proud that I curse, which do err from thy commandments. This is what happens. This is what happens. It's all over the book. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 11. Remember, man, this stuff is like, tell you what, boy. Y'all be up here subscribe and getting these lessons. I'm happy for y'all. I just hope y'all actually can be doing this stuff. Jeremiah chapter 11, verse 3. Actually, let's start at verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah, or Yirmiyahu, from Yahweh was saying, hear ye the words of this covenant. He's still back on this covenant. Going right back to the 10 that they tell you that you ain't got to do no more, these dispensationalists, and speaking to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and saying to them, thus says Yahweh Elohim of Israel, cursed be the man that obeyeth not the words of this covenant, right? And saying to them, thus says Yahweh the Elohim of Israel, cursed be the man that obeyeth not the words of this covenant, which I commanded your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt. See, right back to the book of Exodus, from the iron furnace, saying, obey my voice and do them according to all which I command you. So shall you be my people, and I will be your Elohim, that I may perform the oath which I have sworn unto your fathers, and to give them a land flowing with milk and honey. He does this. As it is this day, then answered I senator and said, so be it, O sovereign. Then the sovereign said unto me, proclaim all these words in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, saying, hear ye the words of this covenant and do them. For I earnestly protested unto your fathers in the day that I brought them up out of the land of Egypt, even until this day, rising early and protesting, saying, obey my voice. Yet they obeyed not, nor inclined their ear, but walked everyone in the imagination of their evil heart, because that's what it is when you say, well, I'm under grace. That's the imagination of your evil heart. Therefore, I will bring upon them all the words of this covenant, which I commanded them to do, but they did not them not. So, now let's go to Colossians chapter 2. Got to put this out here, man. They be trying to use Paul's writing against y'all, but they can only do that when you don't really read that. You can't do that. Some of us out here, we're not finna chump me off like that. You're gonna have to come to me correct. I'll listen to you because I don't know everything, but I know what I know. Colossians chapter 2, we're gonna read verse 8 through 14. Let's see what Paul talking about. Verse 8. Now he's warning you, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the traditions of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after the Mashiach. Why? Because you need the Mashiach. That's your covering for this renewed covenant. For in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead bodily. You are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power, and whom also you are circumcised with the circumcision made without hands, and putting off the body of the sins of the flesh by the circumcision of the Mashiach, buried with him in baptism, right? When you get immersed, right? Also, wherein also you are risen with him through the faith of the operation of Elohim, who have raised him from the dead. And you being dead in your sins and your transgressions of these commandments, he just got done reading that, and the uncircumcision of your flesh, have he quickened together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses, right? Blotting out the handwritten of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to the cross. That's what he took away, these penalties. That's the handwritten ordinances. Because Moses was steady writing. That was against you. It's these penalties that's against you, not the commandments. Anyway, we're going to keep going because we're going to prove this to you, right? Or even sometimes they use this, I see right here, let not no man therefore judge you in meat or drink or in respect of any holy day or the new. That ain't even, like, first of all, if I'm not talking to somebody that understands this, they don't know what a holy day is anyway. And forget about the Shabbat because they think that's on Sunday. Or some of these other folks run around with this now, this floating thing is back again, which I'm not gonna knock, I'm not gonna snap. You know what? I'm not gonna talk against that. Because everybody had, because this is what Paul is saying right here. So I almost became one of them. So I'm not gonna talk against, because that's what he's saying. Let no man judge you in meat, drink, or respect of any holy day. So if they want to have the floating Sabbath, then go ahead. That's how you want to worship Yahweh. I have nothing to do with that. But this is what he's talking about right here. He's not talking about how I want to keep Sunday, I want to eat hog and all these things. He's saying don't let nobody else come along and tell you, man, well, look, man, on the new moon, on the Sabbath day. I mean, how many people you talk to that don't even know what we've been talking about? I mean, how can I judge you on the new moon because you don't even know what that is? So he's talking about people that's in this thing. Don't let these Pharisees come. Because I almost did a Pharisaic move, right? Don't let these Pharisees come and judge you on how you worship this thing here. You know, because these are Colossians, or these are people that just, you have a mixture. You have the Hebrews that was scattered that's out here, and you also have other strangers that's listening too. So they learning how to learn how to do these things. So he's saying, that's what he's basically saying here. Don't let nobody judge you on a holy day, new moon, or no, you're not doing this right, or this is how you're supposed to do it. If you decided that you want to do a floating Sabbath, then you do a floating Sabbath. If I decide I want to do the Shabbat on a Saturday, don't attack me telling me that that's an Edomite day. Let me do my thing because I'm trying to worship the Most High. It ain't got nothing to do with you. And me and you ain't nobody to judge nobody anyway like that. We're supposed to give the people the information. This is what Paul is saying right here. Let's keep moving, man, before I get upset. All right. Now, Paul tells us in Colossians 2:14 that when Yeshua or Yahusha was crucified, he was blotting out the handwriting of ordinance that was against us, which was contrary to us and took us out of the way, nailing it to the cross. Contrary from the base, right? Now, this is Greek, it's a Greek word, 1380. The rules and requirements of the law of Moses, carrying a suggestion of severity and a threatened judgment. This is what he took out of the way, not the commandments. We're going to show you this. Which stood only in meats and drinks and diverse washings and carnal ordinances imposed on them until the time of Reformation. Hebrews 9:10. So we see that there's something else that was also imposed on you until the time of Reformation. What's the time of Reformation, Brother Saul? That's when the Mashiach comes. Right? From G number 1909 from the root G2749, to lie upon or over, rest upon, be laid or placed upon. So these other cardinal ordinances was imposed on you, because we jumping back and forth now. That's the only way we're gonna really be able to do it. Because if I try, I can't break it. I could do it that way, but I think you're gonna get it better this way. Because I'm just showing you, we just left one part that he was talking about, right? When he was talking about these penalties. Now we're trying to show you, we could jump in real fast forward to show you what was imposed on you, right? And like I said, we're gonna get to this. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. See, that's what we do. We see how we going back and forth in the new, in the old, in the new, in the old, in the new, in the old. This is what you got to do. This is where these devils, man. I mean, I love doing this, y'all. Y'all know that. And I like making sure that I try to get y'all the best stuff that I possibly can. Let's see. Deuteronomy 28. Let's read 45 through 46. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not Yahweh thy Elohim with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. So, right? This is what's happening to us right now, because they pursuing you, they running you down. So no matter where you go, you can't get away from them. You just can't get away from them. But again, we jumping back and forth in between, because now we're looking at the one that was imposed on. So I'm trying to give you two examples of these two things that was imposed on you. One of them is the animal sacrifices we getting ready to show you. The other one is these curses. Let's go to Ecclesiastes now, 9 and 2. This is these handwritten ordinances and these things that was against you. This is what Paul's talking about. Talking about no commandments. How can the commandments be against you when he told you in Romans 8 that the carnal mind hates the law and it can't be subject to it? It won't obey it. Not at all. Y'all let these folks trick y'all, man. Now watch this here. Ecclesiastes 9 and 2. All things come alike to all. There is one event to the righteous and to the wicked, to the good and to the clean and to the unclean, to him that sacrifices and to him that sacrifices not. As is the good, so is the sinner, and he that sweareth as he that feareth an oath. He that feareth an oath, that's the problem. We don't want to fear the oath your forefathers took, and you gotta do it, because you part of this family. I mean, whether you're gonna be good or bad, you still gonna have to deal with this. Galatians chapter. But that's what we just can't see. We refuse. But I ain't surprised, because we are hard-headed people anyway. You know what I mean? That's just what we do. We are hard-headed people anyway, because that's our style. And no matter what you try to say, you know what I mean? Some of us gonna get it, some of us not. And I just finally had to come to that conclusion. Because when I put these 15-minute classes up there, when y'all show them to y'all friends and family, if I already know some of them is gonna be deny it to the end, right? They not gonna because the carnal mind does not want to be subject to righteousness. They want to be in their own righteousness, following their vain imagination, as we just read. They like the rudiments of the world. Galatians chapter 3 and 13. Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on the tree. It's right there. It's right here. So this is why we putting this together for you, so you can defend yourself when these folks come with this foolishness. Now let's look at this here. Hebrews 9 and 10. We just read that, which stood only in meats and drinks and in diverse washings. Come on, don't start doing this now. And carnal ordinances imposed on them until the time of Reformation. Oh no, please don't start doing this. This was what's been happening to me the last couple of weeks, y'all. And this is another reason why I couldn't get up here. They are They are only a matter of food and drink and various ceremonial washings, external regulations applying unto the time of the new order. For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing of a better hope did by the which we draw nigh unto Yahuwah. So this is the law that he's talking about that made nothing perfect. What do you, I mean, well, hold on, bro. So what are you talking about? Because what happens if you was a rich man? You could be as wicked as you want. I got thousands and thousands of goats. I got thousands and thousands of cattle. I got thousands and thousands of lambs. I mean, you know what I mean? I can just keep doing what I want to, but I got an offering to throw up there. See, because it's all about the mind and the heart. But for the poor man, this was not a good situation because you might be down to your last couple of animals. Now so it was never good from the very beginning. This is not what he wanted when it came for sin. This is not what he was hoping for, right? So this is the manner of food and drink and various ceremonial washings he's talking about. This is the other half of these penalties. Because when you look at it, this was a wash basin. Now, if you go back to the original writings and you find out that these wash basin, it was made the women that was righteous. Those were the mirrors that they looked at when they came out of Egypt. He took those, and that's what they formed the base. That's what they formed the basin out of. So they had to wash themselves. I mean, where do you think these Muslims get this from when they make wudu? That's what it's called. Because I used to do it years ago when I thought I was a Muslim. You go in there, you wash your feet, you wash your hands, you wash your face. Where do you think they're getting this from? They're getting this from the Levitical priesthood. Because that's the same thing they had to do before they went inside the temple. But this is various ceremonial washings that Paul is talking about. This is the sin offering. I mean, in this priesthood where even Aaron had to go ahead and he had to offer a sacrifice for his sin like everybody else. But you don't see the Mashiach doing that, right? Not at all, because he was a sin offering for once and for all. So like I said, we're going to keep getting to the bottom of this. I just hope that this thing calmed down. So we see that with the Mashiach, we have a new order of priests, a new order of covenant, right? Or I should say renewed order. It's a new order, but I should say a renewed covenant. Law and commandments still good. This is your duty. There is no escape from these laws, this law and these commandments. The Mashiach is just a buffer for you, because he came in the flesh as the Lord, walking around, showing you how to do it. But if you in him and he's in you, like he's in, and he's also in the Father, guess what? Now you can do what you got to do. You make a mistake, oh, he gonna chastise you. You understand what I'm saying? He gonna beat you down. It depends on what it is, and I can say that from fact, right, and from experience. But the thing is, you are in him, so he's gonna lift you back up. It's the blood that covers you. Before this animal sacrificial blood was weak. We just got done reading that the last time I was up here. They carnal ordinances of Aaron and his son. That's what that is. Let's keep rolling. Who was made not after the law of a carnal commandment, but after the power of an endless life. Romans 8:6-7. He's talking about the Mashiach now. So we showed you from the very beginning, right, that there was no oath taken with Aaron's office, but there is very rarely a disannulling of the commandment going before for the weakness and unprofitableness thereof, which is what the animal sacrifice. When he got ordained, it was a blood and oil mix. It wasn't Mashiach came with raw, straight blood from out of his body, right? And then we said Matthew 26:41, it says, for the law maketh men priests which have infirmity. So this was the weakness of the law. This is what he's talking about, not the commandments, not the covenant. This is what he's talking about right here. Because I can take you in Deuteronomy right now when he told the children how he put everything together and nothing was added. But then when the children came, guess after they sinned and did these things, here come Moses. He's right now. These handwritten ordinances, that's against you. Handwritten ordinances, that's against you. Before that, there was nothing added to the words that Yahuwah had gave you from the very beginning. So what you got to understand, This is why we do these classes. And I'm glad to be back. Now let's look at this here. Let's go to Romans chapter 5. I got to stay on my horse too, y'all. Me, I understand. I know this ain't no easy walk. When that flesh jump up on your back, the next thing you know, boy, you're doing something very stupid. But you're going to pay for it too. Romans 5:17 through 21. Let's look at this. For if by one man's offense, death reigned by one. Okay, we're going all the way back to Adam. See, and that's why I say we got to stay in this first part of this book. Because then when Paul starts talking, you understand who he's talking about. Much more they which received abundance of grace and of the gift of righteousness shall reign in life by one Yahushua HaMashiach. Therefore, as by the offense of one judgment came upon all men to condemnation, right? Because Adam, because we read that from the very beginning when he commanded Adam to what tree to eat of and which one not to. Even so, by the righteousness of one, the free gift came upon all men unto justification of life. The free gift, the free gift. It's a free gift. It's a peace offering. That's basically what the Mashiach. It's a peace offering. We're going to show you that. For as by one man's disobedience many were made sinners, so by the obedience of one shall many be made righteous. Moreover, the law entered that the office might abound, but where sin abounded, grace did much more. See, same law. Same thing. That as sin have reigned unto death, even so might grace reign through righteousness until eternal life by Yahushua HaMashiach. So we know the word righteousness is Hebrew word number 1342, and it means justice, equity, right? Through the law, justice through law. It's just that simple. So, right? So when he said that sin entered in, right? Or he said, moreover, verse 20, the law entered. So that's word number G3922, to enter in addition to what? The judgments that were first given in Exodus chapter 21 and 1. Let's go there. See, this is why we got to do it this way. Did y'all understand? Did y'all see that? Exodus. I don't understand. But yes, I do. Let me stop saying that. I do understand. The folk they don't like to study. It's okay though. Make sure y'all get this. Break this down for your folks. So let's just look at something real quick. Now, we know when we go into Exodus chapter 20, he starts talking about he's showing you the rules of the covenant, basically, right? And then he's showing you that what's contained in them. And this is what's contained on, or you could say this is what's attached to the covenant that with the 10 Commandments or the royal law, as is said in the New Testament. Now watch this here. Verse 21. It says, now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. Right? This is where it starts at. Now we can go through 1 through 25. But I'm not going to do that right now. I really should. But I mean, this is stuff that y'all can read on your own. And it just goes through and it's basically just showing you how you're supposed to treat him and how you're supposed to treat each other. And for people, I mean, that's why I know people can't, like this one right here. And if he that smiteth killeth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. Okay, that might sound funny, like who would do that? Well, they got people, they got a boy not here too long ago, just killed his mother, killed his father, and shot himself in the face. So this word of Elohim is very, very true. But these were imposed to ensure death for disobedience, right? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 20. But this is what I want to show you, that these right here is all that he gave you, all the way back over here till we get to chapter 24, right? And then this is when the marriage takes place. Excuse me for that one. But I'm going to show you Ezekiel chapter 21 through, that's what I meant. I said Exodus. I'm sorry, y'all. My eyes, things are going on with me right now. Ezekiel chapter 20. I knew I looked. That's just something don't seem right, but still, those are that's basically where everything. Yeah, I was right. Exodus chapter 21. So I just wanted to show you that that's where everything started. That's what I meant to do. I'm sorry. Let's go to Ezekiel now. And yeah, Brother Saul, I make mistakes too. I really ain't been studying anything these last couple of weeks. Been not feeling really well. Ezekiel chapter 20. Been trying though, but anyway. Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 1 through 25. And it came to pass in the 7th year, in the 5th month, the 10th day of the month, that certain of the elders of Israel came to inquire of Yahuwah and sat before me. Then came the word of Yahuwah to me, saying, Son of man, speaking to the elders of Israel and saying to them, Thus says Yahuwah Elohim, are you come to inquire of me? As I live, says Yahuwah Elohim, I will not be inquired of you. Wilt thou judge them, son of man? Wilt thou judge them? Cause them to know the abomination of their fathers, and say unto them, Thus says Yahweh Elohim, in the day when I chose Israel, and lifted up mine hand unto the seed of the house of Jacob, and made myself known unto them in the land of Egypt, when I lifted up my hand unto them, saying, I am Yahweh your Elohim. And the day that I lifted up my hand unto them to bring them forth of the land of Egypt into the land which that I had espied for them, flowing with milk and honey, which is the glory of all the lands. Then said I unto them, Cast ye away every man the abomination of his eyes, and defile not yourself with idols of Egypt. I am Yahuwah thy Elohim. So we need to be watching. We'll be watching up on YouTube, right? And then here in Atlanta, it's getting ready to be hot. Boy, you really gonna have to fight off the abomination in your eyes, because these women out here gonna be out here, and these men too, half naked walking around here. Verse 8, but they rebelled against me. And then other things too, things that whatever problem you had or whatever your temptation is, you gotta watch that. Be careful of it with your eyes. But they rebelled against me and would not hearken unto me. They did not every man cast away the abominations of their eyes, neither did they forsake the idols of the Egypt. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the midst of the land of Egypt. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen among whom they were, and whose side I made myself known unto them, and bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt, because Moses was pleading with them then. Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, brought them into the wilderness, and I gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, even he shall live in them. Wow, it's way up here too. It's all over this book. And then when he's telling you, this is your mindset. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbath to be a sign between me and them, and they might know that I am Yahuwah thy Elohim that separates them. But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They walked not in my statutes, and they despised my judgment, just like we do today, which if a man do, he shall even live in them, and my Sabbath they greatly polluted. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them. But I wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out. Yet also I lifted up my hand unto them in the wilderness, that I would not bring them into the land which I had given them, flowing with milk and honey, and which is the glory of all the lands. Because they despised my judgments and walked not in my statutes, but polluted my Sabbath, for their heart went after their idols. It's like they doing right now. Nevertheless, mine eyes spared. Because see, that's the crazy part. One minute you talking about you want justice, but you don't want to do justice. And instead you steady chasing idols, but you won't chase him. And then you on these shows, well, we have to do this, and this is what they done to us, and all this. Man, please. We just got done reading how you just do what he say, he gonna have you on the top and not the bottom. You're gonna lend and not borrow. I mean, all these things. But we don't want to hear that part, because the lust of our eyes, we can't control that, and everything else that we want to do. We want to worship him. I mean, here he is people got you, I mean, you in captivity and don't even know it. And the people that got you in captivity have given you their Elohims using your Bible. This is incredible. But anyway, let me keep rolling. Nevertheless, my and you don't even read your word good enough to understand this is what's going on. Nevertheless, mine eyes spare them from destroying them. Neither did I make an end of them in the wilderness, but I sent it to their children in the wilderness. Walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers, neither observe their judgments, nor defile yourself with their idols. I am Yahuwah Yah Elohim. Walk in my statutes and keep my judgments and do them, and separate my Sabbath. And they shall be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim. This is how you really gonna find him. When you do what he say, he gonna show up. He, excuse me. He gonna show himself to you, right? Notwithstanding, the children rebelled against me. They walked not in my statutes, neither kept my judgment to do them, which if a man do, he shall even live in them. They polluted my Sabbath. Then I said, I will pour out my fury upon them to accomplish my anger against them in the wilderness. Nevertheless, I withdrew my hand and wrought for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted in the sight of the heathen, in whose sight I brought them forth. I lifted up mine hand unto them also in the wilderness, that I would scatter them among the heathen and disperse them throughout the countries, because they had not executed my judgments, but had despised my statutes, and had polluted my Sabbath, and their eyes were after their fathers' idols. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they, so they, now I want you, now hold on, I gotta read this the right way, because I want you to hear this. So this is why he see these curses and these penalties, they coming straight from the Elohim on purpose. Because here we keep saying he keep trying to save you. You don't want to be saved. He keep trying to, or when every time you get in trouble, you got people run back to him. Oh, and then as soon as we get what we want, we go back out there. I've been guilty of that myself. But this is what he's saying. He says, so after all this back and forth stuff, he said, okay, wherefore I gave them also statutes that was not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. What does he mean by that? Because we know all his, everything he makes, all his statutes and law. What he's saying is he gave you these things because he knows your wicked heart, that you're not going to keep them on purpose so that he can destroy you. It's like he told you that back in Deuteronomy. This is the Elohim that we dealing with, y'all. And we have to understand this, because he got feelings too. He doesn't rule by his feelings, but he actually has feelings. And somebody keep hurting your feelings after a while, what you gonna be like, okay, you know what? Y'all niggas just, I hate to say it like that, but you niggas just go ahead and keep doing what y'all doing. I got something for you. So when we go to Galatians 3 and 13, we see that the Mashiach is what? The seed of reformation. This is the seed of reformation that was promised, right? Let's go there. The law is the spirit of life. The covenant, love, Shema, obey. We already went through that, right? What Shema means. Hear, O Israel, obey me. This is what he's saying. But I just had to show you that. He said, okay, y'all don't want to do what I want you to do. I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you something that's going to bust your head open. And believe me, it's doing a good job. Because we've been killing each other so much here. I mean, this thing is accelerated. This thing, like it was before. I mean, it was bad, but it's real bad. It ain't just one or two shootings. It's a whole bunch of shootings every night. And it's you killing each other. Well, when a white man do it, it's a problem, right? So let's look at this, Galatians 3 and 13. See, it says now, it says, Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the law. So now you understand exactly what the curse of the law is. Being made a curse for us, what is written, curses everyone that hangeth on the tree. So you got to understand that, right? Now, we're going to get to this other thing here, because I want to show you that, see, if it's a man's covenant, it could be disannulled, right? Or it could be added to. But we're going to get to that a little bit later. We're going to get to that a little bit later. I don't want to go down a little bit too further, because we still on just trying to get y'all to see that this is what's going on. So mercy, and let's go to Romans chapter 5. So he's the seed of reformation, the gift, or the peace offering. That's really what he was, as a peace offering. So that he can reconcile, because the Father, I showed you in Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 25, he said, I gave you these commandments because I know you couldn't keep them. So this is what I impose on you, to kill you. So Romans 5:21, it says that as sin reigned into death, we just got done reading this, even so my grace reign through righteousness. So this is how you're going to get the grace. This is how, when something is reigned, it's king over you. So if you want to, that is sin has reigned into death, you want to deal with the sin and let sin be the king or reign over you in your life, then you're going to get death. If you, through righteousness, keep the commandments and actually put the Mashiach, or the one that y'all call Jesus, in your life, right? Really do what he said, then guess what? Mercy is going to be your king over your life, or reign over you. That's all this is saying. But you can't serve him the way that you want to. You can't do it. I'm sorry. So, wherefore the law was our schoolmaster, to bring us unto Christ, that we might be justified by faith. Schoolmaster, it's the guide, the tutor, the supervisor of morals, and the instructor. This is what you got until who came? The Ruach. Until the Ruach came. Once the Ruach, or some people say the Ruach HaKodesh, once the Ruach came, this is when that was your new instructor. But how do we remember? We learned that. How did you get the Ruach? By keeping the commandments. Other than that, this is who you under. This is why you're going through changes. See, the schoolmaster is what you know. You don't want to be up under the Mashiach, so you don't want to keep the commandments. So until you do that, this is what you're gonna be up under. This schoolmaster gonna be your guide and tutor. That's why you get knocked off, as we just got done reading in Ezekiel chapter 20. It's just that simple. I don't know how else to put it. But let's keep rolling. So, but that no man is justified by the law in the sight of Elohim, it is evident. For the just shall live by faith. We just got done looking at that in Romans chapter 5. We can go also to Romans chapter 3 and 11. I don't see how I missed this, y'all. Hold on a minute. I'll correct it, though. Yeah. I know that's what that is. Okay, so when we look at the word just, I can't move my arm to do that. So I'm kind of crippled right now while I'm doing this. But anyway, so when he says the just shall live by faith, the word just is G number 1342. Righteous, observing divine laws, in a wide sense, upright, righteous, virtuous, keeping the commandments of Yahweh Elohim. We done showed you these words before, right? So it is what it is. So remember we told you these words: upright, righteous, virtuous. See, this is a virtuous woman. That's what that means. So this is how you get this. This is how you get these gifts. But the gift is here for the taking. It's free. It's like you walk into a department store and somebody put a free gift on there. And they say, if you fill out this form right here, you can have this free gift. Now, when you look at the form, if you don't really think you want to fill out the form, you don't want the free gift. But if you want to fill out the form, you can get the free gift. It's the same thing. So when we look at the word Deuteronomy, right? Deuteronomy actually means second law. So the book of the covenant is given, right? So we have the covenant broken, book of the law added because of lawlessness, witnesses against you, curses, carnal-minded. Let's go to Romans chapter 8 real quick. We should already be in Romans. All right, Romans chapter 8 says, let's go there. There is therefore no condemnation to them which are in, because remember we learned what this word in means, right? That means to be walking with Christ, Yahusha, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. So we've already learned this by now. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you need to go back, start from the beginning. You start from the very first lessons that's up here. Otherwise, you're going to be lost. Right? For the law of the spirit of life in Christ, Yahusha, has made me free from the law of sin and death. We already know what the law of sin and death is, because Adam put that on the table, and it's disobedience. For what the law could not do, and that it was weak through the flesh, what? Animal sacrifice. Elohim sending his son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh. So this is what he's letting you know then here, because after he says that, he gives you the remedy. So why did Mashiach come? He come to be what? The sacrifice. So evidently he got to be talking about the same thing. So that's why that's how you follow Paul, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, and this is why they will not submit to these commandments. And they come up with all kind of ways to try to get away with it, get around it, and they even use his own word to trick you to thinking that Yahweh don't never change, baby. But they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity. It hates Elohim, whether they say it or not, for it is not subject to the law of Elohim, neither can it be. So we see up here, he's talking about two different laws. Because we can show you in one place that the law is ordained. Hold on 1 second, y'all. We can show you in one place that 1 minute the law is ordained to life, and the next minute it can't give life. So it's two different laws he's talking about. We've been trying to show you this. So this is the book of the covenant. Statutes and judgments is in Exodus chapter 20 through Exodus chapter 24 and 8, all the way through if you want to see them, right? The schoolmaster added and imposed curses from Deuteronomy 12, right? Chapter through chapter 28. But it's the same book. Because some people you're gonna see some people say, well, see, this is the book of the law, but no, this is the book of the covenant. They try to make it like it's two different books. Let's go to 2 Chronicles. I had to put this one in there, just so y'all know, because I promise you it's gonna come up. And it took me a while. It took me about, almost a year to figure this out. But I did. The Spirit finally showed it to me. But boy, I had to seek diligently for this one, because I kept saying, well, wait a minute, it's the book of the covenant. But then over here, this book of the law is on them. I couldn't understand it, but it's the same book. It's just that this is why I'm doing this, because I'm trying to show you that it was the book of the covenant. This is what the 10 Commandments was written in, and this is what the statutes and judgments was written in. That's on this side of the page. And as soon as the golden calf happened, here come Moshe now. He handwritten ordinances on this side of the page. All the rest of this here. See, that's why I did this, so I can kind of try to give you an understanding of this. So let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 34. We're going to start at verse 14. Well, now I'm going to start at verse 1, and we're going to kind of jump around. But again, this side is what was first written. Here, these couple of pages, and nothing else was added. But as soon as y'all started tripping, our people started tripping, and the stranger with them, boom, all this other stuff was added over here. All this Moses has been writing and writing and writing. See, this is what's happening. Now, chapter 34 of 2 Chronicles, and we're going to start at verse 1, and we're going to jump around. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 130 years. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, and walked in the ways of David his father. So we know David was loved to Yah, right? He was a man after his own heart. And declined, but he sinned, because it's going to happen, right? And declined neither to the right or nor to the left, because what did he do? How did David sin? He was strong, right? Yah was with him. He was doing all kinds, but what did he do? We just got done reading that. He let his eyes get him in trouble. Because he looked over there, and when he seen what he saw, he was like, buddy. Now, all this other stuff comes. Wow. And that's very true. All right, verse 3. For in the 8th year of his reign, while he was yet young, he began to seek after Yahuwah, or the Elohim of David his father, and in the 12th year he began to purge Judah and Jerusalem from the high places in the groves and the carved images and the molten images. See, because this has always been our problem. These other things that we've been seeing and wanting, we just always been like that. we like shiny stuff and all these things. We can't. It's just it's almost like it's in our DNA. But it's the same type of stuff. Now let's jump down here to verse 14. Well, I mean, we predictable. I can't understand it. You can read this book all these years. You can't see it's you. And when they brought out the money that was brought into the house of Yahuwah, Hilkiah the priest found the book of the law of Yahuwah given by Moses. So, okay. So he said he found the book of the law that was given by Moses. Because the Spirit let him find it. Because guess what? Now they done started knocking down the high places. They done started cleaning everything up. And let's see. And Hilkiah answered and said to Shaphan, the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of Yahuwah. And Hilkiah delivered the book to Shaphan. And Shaphan carried the book to the king and brought the king word back, saying, all that was committed to thy servants, they do it. And they have gathered them together, the money that was found in the house of Yahuwah, and have delivered it unto the hand of the overseers and to the hand of the workmen. And Shaphan the scribe told the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest have given me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. And it came to pass when the king had heard the words of the law that he rent his clothes, and the king commanded Hilkiah and Ahikam the son of Shaphan and Abdon the son of Micah and Shaphan the scribe and Isaiah a servant of the king, saying, go inquire for Yahuwah for me. Now but that's not what I'm after, right? I'm gonna go ahead and get this one. And for them that are left in Israel and in Judah, concerning the words of the book that is found. For great is the wrath of Yahuwah that is poured out upon us, because our fathers have not kept the words of Yahuwah and do after all that is written in this book. Boom, there it go again. See, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. Now, but that's the way he said it. Do after all that is written in this book. Goes back to Galatians chapter 3 again. Now, let's jump down here to verse 29. I want to see if y'all catch this. Then the king sent and gathered together all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of Yahuwah, and all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Judah, and the priests and the Levites and all the people, great and small. And he read in their ears all the words of the book of the cup. Wait a minute. What? Oh, I got to read that again. And the king went up into the house of Yahuwah, and all the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and the priests and the Levites, and all the people, great and small. And he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant that was found in the house of Yahuwah. And the king stood. Now, did you see that over here? In verse 14, it's calling it the book of the law, but right here it's called the book of the covenant. It's the same. It's the same book that they didn't find two different books. It's the same book. This is what's happening. So it was the book of the covenant from the beginning, but y'all, our people changed it into what is called the book of the law. So that's what you keep getting hit in the back of the head with. So y'all keep marching and doing all this. It ain't gonna help you. Promise you that. Hebrews 7 and 11. Now, this is how it reads out of ESV. Now, if perfection had been obtainable through, and I hope that y'all understood this. So don't get confused when you hear somebody say the book of the law, or they try to make this like this is two different books. No, it's not. It's the same book, right? In the priest's office and blood of animals to cleanse unintentional sin, but the carnal continued in lawlessness. When originally oblations were for peace. So sacrifices was just supposed to be for peace offering. But then the sin, the wickedness, the iniquity, this is what turned it into sacrifices for sin that he never liked anyway. And that, okay, I'm going to impose this on you until the time of reformation. This is all this is saying, y'all. So I'm hoping y'all understand that. And then please mark this one, because I promise you, you're going to hear it again, and this is going to shut them down immediately. This is how you're going to shut them down, because they're going to try to make it like it's some type of spookery, because that's what they do. It took me almost a year to find that. And I was going through looking at this, the book of the law. I mean, I was all over the place trying to figure this out. But anyway, Hebrews 7:11. Now, if perfection had been obtainable through the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law. Oh, whoa, whoa. Okay. Okay, so we know that when the people received the commandments, there was no Levitical priesthood. We showed you that. What further need would there have been for another priest to arise after the order of Melchizedek, rather than one named after the order of Aaron? For when there is a change in the priesthood, there is necessarily a change in the law as well. What law? This law. Because remember, there is not a covenant, but we've been seeing what he's been saying, the book of the covenant, with the 10 commandments in it. But this is not a covenant. Animal sacrifice is not a covenant, and it's not done away with. It's going to be back. It's coming back in the kingdom. But let's watch this here. For when there's a change of the priesthood, there is necessarily a change in the law as well. For the one of whom these things are spoken belonged to another tribe. What tribe? From which no one has ever served at the altar, which is the tribe of Judah. For it is evident that our sovereign was descended from Judah. And in connection with that tribe, Moses said nothing about priests. This becomes even more evident when another priest arises in the likeness of Melchizedek, who has become a priest, not on the basis of a legal requirement concerning bodily descent, but by the power of an indestructible life. For it is witness of him. You are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. For on the one hand, a former commandment is set aside because of its weakness and uselessness. For the law made nothing perfect. What law? The law of animal sacrifice. We just got done showing you that's what this is. This is what Paul is talking about in this setting. But on the other hand, a better hope is introduced through which we draw near to Elohim. And it was not without an oath. For those who formerly became priests were made such without an oath. But the one that this man took was with the oath. But the priest before, there was no covenant. They was not made with an oath. But this one was made a priest with an oath by the one who said unto him, though Yahuwah has sworn and will not change his mind, you are a priest forever. This makes Yahusha the guarantor of a better covenant. Right? The former priests were many in number because they were prevented by death from continuing in office. This is what he's talking about. Not that the covenant, something was wrong with the last covenant. And we're going to show you how they do some sneaky stuff, because this got a little bit of sneakiness in it too. Because if an average person read that, see, whoa, see that? No. But he holds his priesthood permanently because he continues forever. See? Consequently, he is able to save to the utmost those who draw near to Yahuwah through him, since he always lives to make intercession for them. So he's always going to be making intercession for you. For it was indeed fitting that we should have such a high priest, set apart, innocent, unstained, separated from sinners, right? Because he's keeping the commandments. Sin is a transgression of the law, and exalted above the heavens. He has no need, like those high priests, to offer sacrifices daily, first for his own sins, then for those of the people, since he did this once for all when he offered up himself. For the law appoints men in their weakness as high priests. But the word of the oath, which came later than the law, appoints a son who has been made perfect forever. It's all right there. Now let me show you some of these tricks that they do. Hebrews 8:13. It says, in that he says a new covenant. This word ain't even here. See, because if I come down here to the Aramaic Peshitta, and that he said the new he has made former old, and that which is antiquated and have grown old is nigh unto the king. But here it's saying, in that he said a new covenant he have made the first old. Now that which decayeth waxes old is ready to vanish away. See how this was added. See, this word right here, this was added. But this is what they do. That's why I keep telling y'all, get y'all some of these other tools now. You gotta go back further than this King Jimmy. See, so when you see this, this completely changes the meaning of this verse, making you think commandments. Unless you understand covenants, you will hear this continually. And I promise you will. See? So that, I mean, I'm hoping y'all understand what I'm saying right here. I'm hoping y'all get this. But this is what they did. They put this word in here. He have made, so it says he knew he had made the first old. See, but what is he talking about now? See, we had to keep reading so we can get to the bottom of that. And we will do that, but we're not going to do it right now. Galatians 3:12, and the law is not of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. What do you mean, Paul? The law is not of faith. It's not. The commandments point out to you what you're supposed to be doing. You got to have the faith by being obedient and keeping them. That's all this is saying. But this is what they trick you when you don't have the understanding. And the law is not made of faith, but the man that doeth them shall live in them. We've been reading this all morning long. We've been going back and forth and looking at the same thing. All over the book has been saying the same thing. So now you understand exactly what that means. You understand that. Romans 10:5. Moses writes this about the righteousness that is by the law. The person who does these things will live by them. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgment, but if a man do, he shall live in them. We've been seeing this all over the place. Ezekiel, Jeremiah, the same thing. So now you don't have to be tricked by somebody using that on you, because now you understand exactly what that means. So the word to live, when he says you shall live by them, to live, have life. That's how you're going to have life. That's how you're going to remain alive. That's how you're going to sustain your life. That's how you're going to live prosperously, live forever, be quickened, be alive, be restored to life or health. To have life, cause to grow, to continue in life, remain alive. This is what it's saying. So in other words, what is he saying? If you want to, Moses writes and says that the righteousness is by the law, the person that does these things will remain alive, will have life, will sustain life, will be quickened, will have a changed body, all these things. That's what that word live means. So I know sometimes I go all the way around the world to show you something, but I got to do it that way because we've been so hypnotized with these devils. That's the only way, and I like to prove it. For as many as have sinned without law shall perish without law. So you don't want to keep the commandments? You ain't got to. Because guess what? You're going to just perish without them, but you're still going to be judged. And as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by it. So you're supposed to be keeping these commandments. You out here tripping. That's what he's going to use on you. To hopefully not. And, you out here trying to get yourself together. Romans 2:13. For not the hearers of the law are just before Elohim, but the doers of the law shall be justified. So we know what this word just means. So, I mean, you can't get rid of this. You cannot throw this covenant. This is a covenant, y'all. This is a covenant. So you can't just hear it and say, I'm under grace and not do it. You got to be justified. You got to be a doer of it. See? But the thing about it is being a doer of it, guess what? It's not of faith. This is just something that you have to do because this is part of his agreement. If you want him to be your Elohim, you're going to obey me. You're going to do what I'm telling you to do. You want my protection from these viruses and from these curses? That means this is you're gonna have to listen to me, but you got to have faith. The commandments is by itself. The law is by itself. Period. Depends on which one you're talking about, because we're showing you that you got to read Paul's writings and see what the conclusion of after each one of these sentences. Otherwise, you'll be thrown off. But you want to be with him, this is what I require for you to be my wife. Period. Now, do you want to be my wife or not? It's up to you. So if you don't want to, you can hear me, but you can keep doing what you're doing. But I'm gonna see you when you die. I'm gonna be right there looking at you because you didn't keep it. But and if you do want to be my wife, guess what? You can be my wife. I'm going to give you all these things I promise you, all these wonderful promises. But I'm also going to judge you by it to see how well you kept it. This is what this is saying, y'all. All right, let's keep moving. Romans 3:31. Do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Rather, we uphold the Torah. So this is what faith does. See, faith I love it. And here you are, and here's the Torah. So faith is making you say, I'm strong enough, I've been working out, and I've been reading my scriptures, working out, jogging, and all these things spiritually. So guess what? I can uphold the Torah. I can uphold the commandments. That's all this is, y'all. But Torah here and faith is two different things. That's what Paul was trying to tell you. Man, I've been itching to do this class, and I just said, you know what? I still don't even feel good, but I got to do this. Now let's look at this. The will of Yahuwah. Will, the faculty of conscience, and especially of deliberate action. It is the power of control the mind has over its own actions. The will is that which gives direction to all our faculties. When Yahuwah wills a thing, this is his faculty and conscious, deliberate action. His will embodies of his power and his spirit. And if we know anything of Yahuwah and his will, we know that his will triumphs over all other wills. The Elohim that created us gave us the ability to have free will and have free choice, even though he has the ability to impose his will on all his creatures. But man, he gently suggests to us what his will is and asks us as lesser beings to submit to his will. And let his will become our will. And when his will becomes our will, then his spirit becomes our spirit. His way becomes our way, then we are at peace with him. And being at peace with him, we are at peace with all his creation. Submission to Yahuwah brings about much blessing, because true submission means that you enter in a covenant with him, a type of contract as he did with the patriarchs in the Bible. This is his way. You could also look at it as a marriage, but at this point you become betrothed. But without this first step, he does not know and will not know you. You must repent and be immersed in his name. This is the start of the walk in newness. That's what Paul's talking about, Romans chapter 6 and 4, walk in newness of life. We submit to man's will daily. When you drive, you do the speed limit or get a ticket and possibly go to jail. When you want that degree, you study day and night and do every assignment the professor wills you to do. You submit, right, to the will of the bank to pay your mortgage. Or if you want to have a test of wills, you will end up homeless. And if you keep the wills of these three, you will have peace with the law. You will get your degree and keep your home and be at peace. Now, when it comes to the fathers, most don't want to enter in and do his will because it could mean they won't be at peace with family, friends, and even self. Because of diverse lusts, they that don't want to extinguish, right? The lust that they don't want to extinguish. This is the test of will. But his will being done happens every day in the things created and shows the power and control his mind has over all his actions. Just study what he created. Just go outside and sit out there. Look at what he created, right? You'll see how everything falls in line with his will. Many teach that the laws of Elohim are bondage, but are they? And like I said, we got to go through these different steps because we're gonna get to we coming up to the finale, but it's not this time. But I'm gonna get that up here. Many will say and have been taught that the law, because now we understand instruction given to Moshe was not good enough. But how can something given from Yahuwah not be good? That doesn't make sense. So this tells me we must look closer with diligence to uncover the truth. In this lesson on grace, we must look at bondage and liberty. We must uncover the facts. What is liberty and bondage according to scripture? And this way we will come one step closer to fulfilling his will. Now, let's see something here. Yeah, we got to get to this. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 34. We're going to get these right here, y'all. See Jeremiah 34. La, 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 la. I love doing this. I feel I'm feeling better already. Jeremiah 34. Oh. Jeremiah 34:17. It says, therefore, thus says Yahuwah, you have not hearkened unto me, and proclaiming liberty, everyone to his brother, and every man to his neighbor. Behold, I proclaim the liberty for you, says Yahuwah, to the sword, to the pestilence, and the famine. And I will make you be removed unto all the kingdoms of the earth, right? And I will give the men that have transgressed my covenant, which have not performed the words of the covenant, which they had made before me, when they cut the calf in twain and passed between the parts thereof. Now, this was talking about a whole different thing, but we see that the law well, we're gonna get to that. But the law and the liberty ain't nothing but keeping the commandments. That's how you get liberty. What I want liberty from, Saul? From sin and death. That's what you want liberty from. Psalms 119. But he's telling you, proclaim this liberty to the people so they can have this life. The people don't want liberty. They want death. They like it. In as many forms that it comes in. Right? Whether it be drugs, sex, money, power. Yeah. They don't want to be free from that. Right? That's why they keep fighting you when you keep trying to talk to them about keeping these commandments. Psalm 119 and 45. And I will walk at liberty, for I seek thy precepts, right? I can jump up to 44. So shall I keep thy law continually forever and ever. And I will walk at liberty, for I seek thy precepts. I will speak of thy testimonies also before kings and will not be ashamed. And I will delight myself in thy commandments, which I have loved. My hands also will I lift up unto thy commandments, which I have loved, and I will meditate in thy statutes. Isaiah 61. And 1. The Spirit of Yahuwah is upon me, because Yahuwah hath anointed me to preach the good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives. And that's what we're trying to do today, is proclaim liberty, which is the commandments, to the captives, and the opening of the prison to let them out that are bound in sin. That's all he is saying. Right? 2 Corinthians. I had to hit these real quick because I ain't letting these get away. I just can't do it no more. I don't know. Anyway, I just got to get everything I can. I want to make sure that I give y'all everything. All right. Now let's look at this. 2 Corinthians 3 and 17. Now, the sovereign is a spirit, and where the spirit of Yahuwah is, there is liberty. So we know that the Ruach is a spirit, and we know the Ruach is what's going to liberate you. All right, Hebrews 8 and 6. But now have he attained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises, right? Now, this right here, that's suspect to me. All right. But then again, I mean, when it says better too, I mean, and that's something I'm trying to decipher right now. But I left it like it was because I want y'all to see this here. All right. But I'm not done with that yet. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 8. The only reason why I can see that the covenant would be better is because the Mashiach is here now, the ultimate sacrifice. But ain't nothing was wrong with the first covenant. Remember, he said, I found finding fault with them, not with the covenant. So this is what I'm saying. Sometimes you gotta, as you keep doing it, you're gonna start saying, wait, this don't make no sense. But what is Paul trying to say? So, but there's always gonna be an answer. There's always an answer to this stuff. You just gotta find it. Even if you don't understand some stuff that Paul's writing, you gotta search it out, and it's gonna make sense when you get to it. But just off the top, when people look at this off the top, they will see, because that's laziness. You got to make sure that's what he's saying, right? Romans 8 through 11. For finding fault with them, as I just said, he says, behold, the days come, says Yahuwah, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. That word new there, very suspect. I mean, it should say renewed, but I'm gonna show you that when we get to the covenants. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, right? And I regarded them not, says Yahuwah. For this is the covenant that I will make with them in the house of Israel after the days, says Yahweh. I will put my laws in their mind, write them in their hearts, and I will be to them an Elohim, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall know, now this is Jeremiah 31 and 31, shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know Yahweh, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest, for I will be merciful to the unrighteous, to their unrighteousness and their sins and their iniquity will I remember no more. And that he says, a renewed covenant he hath made, the first old, now that which decayeth and wax old is ready to vanish away. So we just got done looking at this and breaking this down. But what the thing is about this here is you'll hear people say all the time, well, I don't, man, why, like I had explained before, man, why you got your hair covered, man? Why you got them fringes on your clothes? Because I'm commanded to do that. Well, no, see, we under the new covenant now. No, partner. Because if you was up, we reading this. If you was under the new, I mean, now you might be under the new covenant. I'm not. You see what I'm saying? Because guess what? If that's the case, then explain to me exactly how the Elohim, how he made the earth, and explain to me exactly how the messengers was exactly made, how he did it. Explain that to me. Explain to me how he made Jupiter, because at this time, you're going to know all this stuff. And not only that, you're going to understand about these covenants. You ain't going to have nobody teach you. So if this already had taken place, you ain't even got to go to class no more because you understand this whole book because it's going to be written in your mind. And that's what it's going to tell you the same thing in Jeremiah 31 through 34. That's where Paul got this out of Hebrews 8 through 11. So don't let nobody tell you not, because the other fact is, if you was up under this new covenant, right, or this renewed covenant fully right now, guess what? You be in the kingdom. So we ain't doing none of that yet, are we? Okay. I wouldn't even have to do these classes because y'all understand this. So don't let nobody tell you that. I don't care if they call themselves a Hebrew or not. That's not true. So nothing was wrong with the first covenant, i.e. tablets of testimony and the mitzvot, judgments and statutes. The problem was with the people. So in Jeremiah, he changes the conditions of the mind from stone to flesh. So he takes out the stony heart, as he said, and he puts a fleshly heart in you. What is he talking about? A heart or a mind to want to keep these commandments. It's going to be in you. The commandments was given on stone because the people have hearts of stone. But now he's going to write it in your flesh, inside you. So you're going to understand this. You're not going to, you're going to know exactly what's going on. You're not going to have all these questions and I wonder this and that, or I wonder, you're going to understand it because it's going to be written inside you. That's the difference. I had to go there, y'all. I'm sorry. Commandments from the Elohim are perfect, right? Psalms 19, 7 through 11. The law of Yahweh is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of Yahweh is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of Yahweh are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of Yahweh is pure, enlightening the eyes. So we see right here, when Paul's talking about you, that's why you got to know what commandment he's talking about, because how could this commandment be done away with when it's perfect, right? When it converts your mind, right? When it's sure, you can count on it. And if you was like me, a fool, guess what? It's gonna make you wise. Wise in what way? Wise in the ways of this book, so you can save yourself. The statutes of Yahweh are right, rejoicing the mind. They make you happy because you know you protected. You looking forward to the kingdom. All these things, and they're pure, right? So when we look at this word, I'm sorry, how can something be perfect be made better? Perfect is the word 8549, to mean without spot or blemish. This is what it's saying, right? Let's go to Psalms. I think we did this one already. I'm almost sure we did. We're going to go there anyway. But we just doing a Bible study class. We just studying the Bible together. Right? Nothing big. Nothing big at all. I had to get this up here today. I'm going to go ahead and I need to lay down. Psalms 119 And 144, the righteousness of thy testimonies is everlasting, giving me understanding, and I shall live. We just got done showing you what Moses was saying. You want life? Do these things. I cried with my whole heart. Hear me, O Yahuwah. I will keep thy statutes. I cried unto thee, save me, and I shall keep thy testimony. It's all there, y'all. It's all there. So let's look at this. 2 Corinthians 3 and 14. This is what Paul tells you: their minds was hardened, for until this very day at the reading of the old covenant, the same veil remains because it is removed in Christ, right? But they don't want to see the true Christ. Let's go there. Actually, let's go to Isaiah 44 first. Show y'all this. Isaiah 44 and 3. He says, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the water courses. One shall say, I am Yahuwah's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob or Israel, like we do. And another shall subscribe with his hand into Yahuwah and surname himself by the name Israel. And thus says Yahuwah, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, the Sovereign of hosts. Ain't that something? So that's both of them together again. Now, let's go to 2 Corinthians 3. And this is another one they try to use on it. I heard your sneaky creflo. I was watching on one of his things. Because I do that. I like to see what lies they're coming up with. So when I'm talking to somebody, I'm sure they're going to bring it up and I can help them because I already know what's going on, right? Especially with these, well, how we do. We love these people, man, but you got to understand these people don't love us. They are enemies. Now, it says, let me start at verse 1. Do we begin again to commend ourselves, or need we, as some other epistles of commandment, of commendation to you, or letter of commendation from you? You are our epistle written in our hearts, known and read of all men. For as much as you are manifestly declared to be the epistle of the Mashiach, ministered by us, written not with ink, right, but with the Spirit. See, so not with those ordinances that was against you, right? But with the Spirit of the living Elohim, not in tables of stone, but in the fleshly tables of the heart. We just got none looking at that. But, and such trust have we through Yahusha to Elohim word. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of Elohim, right? Who also may have made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit, for the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life, right? So we don't want those we don't want those handwritten ordinances that was against us. We don't want those letters. And then we're going to show you later on, we don't even want these traditions and these other letters of the Pharisees. We're going to show you exactly what this means. See, but people use this because they haven't went through what we just went through in the last few minutes. But if the ministration of death, what? There it is. We learned that was the first thing we got into, the ministration of death. Written and engraved in stones, was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses, for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away. How shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious? Of course it is, because he's talking about the Mashiach. The first one you couldn't, he found fault with them. They couldn't keep it, so it brought death on them. But guess what? Now, this ministration, right? But then people will say, well, see, this is a different dispensation. This is not what this man is talking about. He's talking about when the ministration of the priesthood was taken over. There's a new priest in town. It's a new high priest that took over. That's the ministration he's talking about. For the ministration of condemnation be glory, much more does the ministration of righteousness exceed in glory. So we know what this means. So we know what righteousness means. See, but they'll trick you with this. For even that which was made glorious had no glory in this respect, by reason of the glory that excelleth. For that which is done away with was glorious, much more that which remaineth is glorious. We know the commandments ain't done away with because they pure. So we already learned what law he was talking about. We already learned what handwritten ordinance he was talking about. Seeing that we have such hope, we have great plainness of speech, and not as Moshe, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished. But their minds were blinded, for until this day remains the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away with in Christ. So, this is the problem. But even to this day, when Moshe is read, the veil is upon their mind. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to Yahuwah, the veil shall be taken away. Boom. That's the key right there. Turn to him and keep that covenant, and all of a sudden the veil is going to be taken away. And this is why so many people can't see what we've been talking about the last hour. Because the veil is on their mind. Because they refuse to keep these commandments. They refuse to keep Torah. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand what true faith is. They don't understand what Torah is. So this is why, this is why the Mashiach used the parable, or he healed the blind man, which represented the house of Israel. See what I'm saying? That's what everything he does is on the side level. Then the clay represents Adam, Romans 5:12. See, because we all go back to the dirt. So he used the clay, he used dirt to put on a man's eyes, right? Oh man, Mashiach was so cold-blooded, it's unbelievable. So the clay represents Adam. Then the water represents the Ruach, right? Yeah, did we go to Isaiah 44? I think we did. Let me get up. Yeah, we did. So the clay water represents the Ruach. And then now you can see the Mashiach for who he is, he truly is, and understand the will of the Father, which is his commandments, which are your shield and buckler. Let's go to Psalms 5 and 12. I'm hoping y'all understand this. I'm hoping I'm trying to put it the best way I can. I never get a chance to talk to none of y'all. I wish I could. I had some questions, but I try to make them thorough as possible, so that y'all it really won't be any questions. You just gotta keep studying. You'll get it. Y'all's merciful. He ain't just merciful to me, merciful to all those that love him. For thou, Yahuwah, will bless the righteous with favor, wilt thou compass him with a shield and buckler. So here it is. Really, like we've been looking at this on grace again. For thou, Yahuwah, will bless the righteous. Who's the righteous? The one that upholds the commandments with grace. Wilt thou compass him as with a shield. So we know that's what favor means. It's nothing but grace. And he's talking about this way back in Psalms. So again, this is not a new thing. Now, the next time we come, we're going to have to get into these cats right here, because we're going to have to show you another part of this. And you got to understand this if you want to understand Paul's writings. We're going to get into this the next time. But right now, it's as far as we're going to go. I don't want to keep y'all too long. I don't even know how long I've been up here, but I got carried away today, probably because I haven't been up here in a while. So y'all just keep me in prayer. Please do that. And hopefully I'll see y'all the next time. Whatever the Father's will is, it's going to be. But we're going to get into this next section, and we're going to close it out with part 4. When we get through that section, then you're going to really understand. So then we start going a little further into Paul's writings, it's not going to be a mystery to you no more. But this is what I want you to see. That's why I put this class together on Torah and grace, friends or enemies. And we're going to find out that they actually is friends. Because you got to keep the one. You got to have the one friend to be friends with the other one. But again, we just ask, Father, as we come before you, we thank you for all things. We thank you for your son. We thank you for the Ruach. We thank you for the ministers of flame and fire that you have around us. We thank you for all things, Father. Without you, there's nothing. You are the greatest, Father. You are the strongest. We are the wisest. Your will is trump over everything. And Father, show us the right way. Keep us in the way. Keep us on the path, Father. And we thank you, Father, again. And we praise you and we magnify your name, the name of Yahuwah. We always magnify your name. Without you, we have no bread. But we thank you for your gifts. We thank you for your love gift, the Mashiach. Huh? Yahusha HaMashiach. All right, y'all. Till the next time I see y'all, all I can say is shalom, shalom.